This is MTG Burgeoning, and in this video we will showcase the contents of Red Color Support Pack number 1 of our Jumpstart Commander Cube. If you haven't been following along or are new to the channel, look in the description of this video for links to the primer video for this series, its playlist, as well as a list of the cards featured in this video. As previously showcased during the primer video for this series, these are the types of cards you can expect to see in every color support pack. Now, with the prologue coming to an end, let's start spotlighting some red support cards, beginning with some basic mountains. We've got 3 of them, 1, 2, 3, that's going to start off our pack. And on the tail end of those 3 basic mountains, we have 3 more basic mountains, but these are of the snow-covered variety. So as has been customary during the reveals of these color support packs, the first 6 cards are basic lands. And if you've been following along the entire time, you know that card number 7 is going to be the thriving land of this pack. And since we're dealing with red, that land is going to be Thriving Bluff. It enters the battlefield tapped, and when it does, we choose a color other than red. We can tap this land to add 1 red mana or 1 mana of the chosen color to our mana pool. Our next card is our second consecutive non-basic land, this one of the utility variety, and in this pack, it is Spinerock Gnaw. This has the hideaway mechanic, which means that when this land enters the battlefield, it does so tapped, and when it does, we look at the top 4 cards of our library, we exile 1 face down, then put the rest on the bottom of our library. We can tap this land for 1 red mana, or we can pay 1 red, tap this, and we may play the exile card without paying its mana cost if an opponent was dealt 7 or more damage this turn. Note that there are no timing restrictions tied to this ability. Not only can we activate it at any time we could cast an instant because it doesn't have the dreaded line of text saying activate only as a sorcery, but it will ignore the timing restrictions. So if this happens during an opponent's turn, if opponent 1 deals more than 6, let me say that again, if opponent 1 deals 7 or more damage to opponent number 2, we can pay that red mana, we can tap Spinerock Gnaw, and whatever that card is, we can cast it right then and there without worrying about the timing of when we normally cast it. That means we can put a planeswalker, enchantment, creature, artifact, something that isn't an instant, right onto our side of the battlefield. And of course, we get to do so without paying its mana value. In Commander, being able to activate Spinerock Gnaw should be easier than Sunday morning. Alright, our next card is going to be our MDFC, which is our modal double-face card. That's going to be a spell on the front, a land on the back. And here in Red Color Support Pack number 1, that card is Akoum Warrior, a 4/5 Minotaur Warrior for 5 and 1 red that has trample, and that is all. So we're investing 6 overall mana for a 4/5 trampler. Well, those stats do not really line up to make this a good investment for our mana spending bucks. And if we feel that way in the early to mid or maybe even the late game, then perhaps it would benefit us more to just put Akoum Teeth onto our side of the battlefield instead. It is a land, it enters tapped, and we can tap it to add 1 red mana to our mana pool. Since we do have the option of playing that card as a land, we're going to slap this MDFC right up on top of here with our other land options. All right, this is going to take us to our next card, and if you've been following along with this series, or if you remember the basic layout of what every color support pack is going to have, you know that the next card is our Planeswalker. And here we have Chandra, Torch of Defiance. This version of Chandra comes in with 4 loyalty counters for 2 and 2 red mana, and look at that bevy of abilities. We can add a loyalty counter to Chandra to exile the top card of our library. We may cast that card. If we don't, Chandra will deal 2 damage to each opponent. So if we end up exiling a card and it's a land, well, we're certainly not going to cast a land, so that's not going to work. So we're just going to make sure that we're just going to make sure that Chandra deals 2 damage to each opponent. Next up, we can add a loyalty counter to Chandra to add 2 red mana to our mana pool. We can take 3 loyalty counters off of Chandra to have her deal 4 damage to target creature. And lastly, if we can keep Chandra on our side of the battlefield long enough in order to accumulate enough loyalty counters to do so, we can take 7 loyalty from this version of Chandra, and then we get an emblem that reads, whenever we cast a spell, this emblem deals 5 damage to target creature or player. I do believe that that has been eroded. I do believe that that's 5 damage to any target. So I'm pretty sure that we can throw planeswalkers into that bit as well. So although the card here says target creature or player, I am fairly confident that it's 5 damage to any target. And as of the creation of this video in Magic the Gathering, there is no way to interact with an emblem. Once it hits the battlefield, it remains there for the duration of the game, or at least for the duration of our appearance, our presence, our playing at that table. All right, next up is going to be our creature modifier. This is either going to be an aura or an equipment. And here for red color support pack number 1, it's an equipment. And it is Lizard Blades. Here we have a 1/1 double striking equipment lizard for 1/1 red mana. So how this card is going to work is we'll pay the 1/1 red mana, and this will enter the battlefield as a creature. It's a 1/1 creature with double strike. We could so choose to reconfigure by paying 2 generic mana, and if we do, we attach this creature to one of our other creatures, and if we do that, Lizard Blades ceases from becoming a creature. Ceases becoming a creature. It's no longer a creature when it's reconfigured onto one of our other creatures. Then it just becomes an equipment that gives the equipped creature double strike. If the equipment falls off of the equipped creature, maybe the equipped creature gets destroyed or exiled or removed from the battlefield, the blades fall off and it becomes a 1/1 double striking creature yet again. So versatility reigns supreme with that equipment lizard. We're going to start off with a 1/1 double striking creature for just the investment of 2 overall mana. And then when a bigger or more powerful or more evasive threat enters our side of the battlefield, we're going to pay that 2 generic mana. We're going to reconfigure it by equipping it onto that creature. And of course, we can only do that at sorcery speed, just like we would have to do if we were attaching an equipment to one of our creatures, and then that creature is going to have double strike. All right, next up is going to be our color strength spell. And if we are talking about red, we are talking about impulse. We are talking about impulsive card draw. And here we have Demand Answers. An instant for 1/1 red mana. As an additional cost to cast the spell, we sacrifice an artifact or discard a card. Here we draw 2 cards. Okay, so this isn't as impulsive as I was thinking it was going to be. I was thinking perhaps maybe we were going to exile some cards from the top of our library, or maybe we were going to need to discard cards first in order to draw those cards. But still, we're getting 2 cards in our hand for sacrificing an artifact or discarding a card, so there's the option there. And that's all for the investment of just 1/1 red mana. Plus, it's at instant speed. Okay, next up we have our spot removal and disruption spells. We have 2 of them, and our first one is Chandra's Triumph. An instant for 1/1 red mana, Chandra's Triumph will deal 3 damage to target creature or planeswalker an opponent controls, and if we control a Chandra planeswalker, instead this spell will deal 5 damage to that creature or planeswalker instead. Of course, we've already revealed Chandra Torch of Defiance as being the planeswalker in this color support pack, so pairing that up with Chandra's Triumph is a very nice way in which to play off of that flavor, and I assure you was done intentionally. Our next spot removal spell is Red Sun's Twilight. Sorcery for X and 2 red mana, we destroy up to X target artifacts. If X is 5 or more, for each artifact destroyed this way, we create a token that's a copy of it. Those tokens gain haste, and then we exile them at the beginning of the next end step. So with this, I think it would be quite entertaining to just go around the table and pick off each one of our opponent's mana rocks. A Soul Ring here, an Arcane Signet there, a Commander Sphere there, a Felwar Stone there, and then we get to create those tokens, or we get to create copies of those artifacts as tokens on our side of the battlefield, which we can utilize to tap for mana. We lose them at the end of the turn, but so do all of our opponents. Even though our opponents don't get them anymore, they lose them, we get a copy of them, and then we eventually lose them as well. All right, next up is going to be our mass removal and disruption spells. We have 2 of them, and our first one is an oldie but a forgotten goodie. It is Inferno, instant speed for 5 and 2 red mana. This simply reads, deal 6 damage to each creature and each player. I also believe that this card has been errated in the Gatherer database to say deal 6 damage to each target. I would have to double check on that one. I'm pretty sure I double checked for Chandra, but I did forget to double check for Inferno, or maybe I didn't, I'm just not remembering. But Inferno is 6 damage to each creature and player, although I'm pretty sure it's going to be 6 damage to each target. No, that doesn't make any sense. 6 damage to each creature and each player. Maybe it is just that. Maybe it isn't Planeswalkers too, because we're not doing any kind of targeting ability there. All right, so scratch the last 35 seconds of what we were just saying, and we're going to say Inferno will deal 6 damage to each creature and each player. Our second mass removal disruption spell, it is Chain Reaction. Sorcery speed for 2 and 2 red mana. Chain Reaction deals X damage to each creature, where X is the number of creatures on the battlefield. Unfortunately, similar to Inferno, this is going to be a symmetrical effect. Our creatures are going to get that damage dealt to them as well. This most likely is going to be the ultimate rid the battlefield of all creatures red board wipe. And as you know, when you're sitting down at the EDH table, sometimes that's more of a necessary evil than it is not. All right, our next card up is our hate or our defense card, and in red color support pack number 1, that card is Pyrohemia. This enchantment has a mana value of 2 and 2 red mana, and at the beginning of the end step, if there are no creatures on the battlefield, we must sacrifice Pyrohemia. We can pay a red mana to have this deal 1 damage to each creature and each player. So with some careful battlefield management, we should have the ability to get rid of a lot of our opponent's creatures, as long as we make sure that 1 creature remains on the battlefield. Perhaps it's one of our own creatures. If we have a creature with toughness big enough, we could really make sure we control the battlefield. Just keep in mind that that 1 point of damage is going to each player. That is a symmetrical effect, and our life total is going to tick down southward each time we tap a red mana and jam it into the activated cost of Pyrohemia. Hopefully, our opponent's life totals will be closer to 0 than ours. Our next card is our resource advancement card. So in this slot, we're looking for advancements such as cards in hand. We're looking for mana acceleration, ways in which to advance our board state. And here in this color support pack, that comes in the form of Hollowhead Sliver. A 2/2 Sliver for 2 and 1 red mana. Sliver creatures we control have tap, discard a card, draw a card. So here this is going to give Hollowhead Sliver a rummage effect and any other slivers that we control as well. We can tap that bad boy, add instant speed, discard a card, and then draw a card. Our next card is our Combat Enhancement card, and for this pack, it is Rising of the Day, an enchantment for 2 and 1 red mana. Creatures we control have haste, and legendary creatures we control get +1/+0. Gone are the days of relying on Fervor to give our creatures haste, which it does for the exact same mana value of 2 and 1 red mana. However, Rising of the Day also allows our legendary creatures to get that half Anthem boost of +1/+0. We won't know for certain how many legendary creatures will be in our deck, but we certainly know we have one in the command zone waiting to hit our side of the battlefield. All right, MTG Burgeoning community, we're down to the last card of this color support pack. And if you've been following along, you know that this slot is dedicated to an iconic creature type in that color. When we've showcased the white color support packs, that was Angels. When we showcased the blue packs, they were Sphinxes. Black packs were Demons. I think you're following along quite well and can anticipate what the iconic creature type in red will be. That's right, we have dragons, and in this pack, it is Flame Blast Dragon, a 5/5 dragon with flying for 4 and 2 red mana. Whenever Flame Blast Dragon attacks, we may pay X and 1 red mana. If we do, Flame Blast Dragon deals X damage to target creature or player, and similar to Chandra, Torch of Defiance, who we recently showcased in this video, I do believe that has been eroded to be X damage to any target. So Flame Blast Dragon can pick creatures off of the battlefield, pick planeswalkers off of the battlefield, or just go straight to the face of their opponent, of an opponent, with that activated direct damage dealing ability. All right, MTG we have showcased the contents of Red Color Support Pack number 1. I look forward to reading your thoughts about these cards in the comment section below. This is MTG Burgeoning, your channel for all things Magic.